Hello, my name is Monique Musiel, and I'm the author of An Understanding Beyond, which can be found at Amazon.com. Today I'd like to talk about angels. I would like to see people have a better understanding of them. So I looked up a lot of phrases in the Bible, and I have, some comments in between. So I'd first of all like to just cover some basic info on angels. There are 7 archangels in the Bible, and they are considered princes in the Bible who stand in the presence of God and serve Him directly. Their names are Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, Uriel, Salathiel, Jegudiel, and Barachiel. Besides them, there is a huge army of angels also. In Matthew 26:53, Jesus says, "Do you think that I cannot appeal to my Father, and He will at once send me more than 12 legions of angels?" Now, there are 2/3 of the angels have remained with God and were true to Him, while 1/3 was cast out because Satan and his angels rebelled and tried to overthrow God. They wanted to take over God's throne. Satan's angels are considered demons, while Satan is called the Prince of Darkness, and unfortunately he's even called in the Bible called Lord of this world because he has infiltrated it with evil. He is the master of death. His aim is destruction. Because he can't hurt God directly, he hurts us instead because God loves us. In this way, he hurts God. So he strikes us with diseases, wars, oppression, even demon possession. And all destructive forces come from him. Now, all angels are immortal, which means they can never die. They have supernatural powers, and they are usually invisible unless they are willing to let us see them. There are many examples in the Bible of angels that have appeared to humans. Apostle Peter, in prison for preaching the gospel in Acts 12:7-10 in the NIV, "Suddenly an angel of the Lord appeared, and a light shone in the cell. He struck Peter on the side and woke him up. 'Quick, get up,' he said. And the chains fell off Peter's wrists. Then the angel said to him, 'Put on your clothes and sandals,' and Peter did so. 'Wrap your cloak around you and follow me,' the angel told him. Peter followed him out of the prison, but he had no idea that what the angel was doing was really happening. He thought he was seeing a vision. They passed the first and second guards and came to the iron gates leading to the city. It opened for them by itself, and they went through it. When they had walked the length of one street, suddenly the angel left him, was gone. In Zechariah, in Luke 1:11-13 in the NIV, then the angel of the Lord appeared to him, standing on the right side of the altar of incense. When Zechariah saw him, he was startled and was gripped with fear. But the angel said to him, "Do not be afraid, Zechariah. Your prayer has been heard. Your wife Elizabeth will bear you a son, and you will call him John. Now, he's actually referring to John the Baptist. That's who the angel is talking about. In Matthew 28, 2-4, after Jesus' body had been entombed, it says, "And behold, there was a great earthquake, for an angel of the Lord descended from heaven, and came and rolled back the stone, and sat on it. His appearance was like lightning, and his clothing white as snow. And for fear of him, the guards trembled and became like dead men." Which explains why, even though they were on guard all night so that nobody would steal Jesus' body, that's what the emperor thought was going to happen. That explains why they were found asleep or gone in the morning. And after that, when his disciples found Jesus' tomb empty, they were puzzled. In Luke 24, 4-5, it says, "While they were perplexed about this, behold, two men stood by them in dazzling apparel, as they were frightened and bowed their heads to the ground. The men said to them, 'Why do you seek the living among the dead?'" Now note that the Bible will sometimes refer to angels as men, because they actually will have the image of a man, but they'll be glowing. So, that shows you they aren't just flesh and blood. They are something supernatural. In Daniel 9:20-23, Daniel wrote, "While I was speaking and praying, confessing my sin and the sin of my people Israel, and presenting my plea before the Lord my God for the holy hill of my God, while I was speaking in prayer, the man, Gabriel," again man, right, "whom I had seen in the vision at the first, came to me in swift flight at the time of the evening sacrifice." In Daniel 10:4-6, he continues, "On the 24th day of the first month, as I was standing on the bank of the great river, the Tigris, I looked up, and there before me was a man dressed in linen, with a belt of fine gold from Uphaz around his waist. His body was like topaz, his face like lightning, his eyes like flaming torches, his arms and legs like the gleam of burnished bronze, and his voice like the sound of a multitude." Now this angel, the same angel, in verse 10-13 of Daniel, "The prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days, is what this angel was telling him. But Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me." So the prince of Persia is referring to an evil entity, and this entity was actually powerful enough to detain this angel of God who was speaking from his assignment for an entire 21 days or 3 weeks. Because he had a message to speak to Daniel about something, and he was delayed. So there are supernatural things going on behind the scenes that we might not understand, we don't see. In Luke 1:19, "And the angel answered him, 'I am Gabriel. I stand in the presence of God, and I was sent to speak to you and to bring you this good news.'" Now, unlike the image of angels that we've seen like all our lives, like when we were kids, and we think that they're like, that they look like cute and chubby little babies with tiny wings, especially like somebody like Cupid is depicted that way. And they are actually quite different than that. You can tell by the description that I just read that they can be quite ominous and even terrifying. Whenever they've appeared to humans, they just fall on their faces, and they just don't. They're just totally blown away by seeing a vision of an angel. So in Ezekiel 12 through 17 in the NIV, a description of cherubim, with more detail about what they actually really look like. Their entire bodies, including their backs, the hands, and their wings were completely full of eyes, and as were their 4 wheels. I heard the wheels being called the whirling wheels. Each of the cherubim had 4 faces. One face was that of a cherub, the second face of a human being, and the third face of a lion, and the fourth face of an eagle. Then the cherubim rose upward. These were the living creatures I had seen by the Kabar River. So he had seen them before, okay? When the cherubim moved, the wheels beside them moved. And when the cherubim spread their wings to rise from the ground, the wheels did not leave their side. When the cherubim stood still, they also stood still. And when the cherubim rose, they rose with them, because the spirit of the living creatures was in them. Maybe this is how they're able to, sort of like hovercrafts for us. It's a mechanism of some sort, even though it sounds very strange. In Isaiah 6, 1-4, he relays, Revelation 4, 8, it says, each of the 4 living creatures had 6 wings and was covered with eyes all around, even under its wings. Day and night they never stopped saying, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty, who was and is to come. Now you see how there's like more than one description by different individuals that confirm what the other one said also. Now in Revelation 7:11, and all the angels were standing around the throne and around the elders and the 4 living creatures, and they fell on their faces before the throne and worshipped God. In Revelation 5:11, then I looked and I heard around the throne and the living creatures and the elders of the voice of many angels, numbering myriads of myriads and thousands of thousands. So again, like I said before, huge army. Now there's some Bible verses about angels in spiritual warfare. In 2 Kings 6:17, then Elijah prayed and said, O Lord, please open his eyes that he may see. So this is when they were surrounded by an armies, by somebody was going to come to try to conquer them. But so the Lord opened the eyes of the young man, and he saw, and behold, the mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire all around Elijah. So they were there. Elijah had been saying all along, don't worry, we're being protected. God is here for us. And the young man wasn't able to see that they were surrounded by, an army from God that wasn't going to allow them to be conquered. So some optional phrases about spiritual warfare. In Revelations 12:7-9, now a war arose in heaven, Michael and his angels fighting against the dragon. And the dragon, they're referring to Satan. And the dragon and his angels fought back, but he was defeated, and there was no longer any place for them in heaven. So this is the point at which there was that rebellion of Satan and his angels, where they got thrown out. In 2 Corinthians 10:3-4, for though we walk in the flesh, we are not waging war according to the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not of the flesh, but have divine power to destroy strongholds. In Psalm 34:7, the angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him and delivers them. in Psalm 91:11, for he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways. Now, this is talking to someone specifically, and I didn't look who this was, but that God can do that for any of us. So, in conclusion, there are many witnesses and detailed records that support that the supernatural world exists. Just because we can't all see it, it is definitely real. You know, we trust history books. I don't understand why people don't trust what's been documented in the Bible. It's even been confirmed with Dead Sea Scrolls, and you know, it's lined up with a lot of things that are in actual history also. And getting back to, we don't believe what we can't see. Well, what about cell phones and radio waves and television that used to come through the air? You don't see it in the air, but it's there and it's real. Think about that for a minute, that there are things that are beyond us, beyond our understanding. That is why I wrote the book called An Understanding Beyond, because there is some, you can have some understanding of God, and you can increase that by exposing yourself to, first of all, reading the Bible itself. I especially recommend the New Testament first, because it is the point at which God has forgiven humanity if we're willing to accept it. So, before that, we were not able to be perfect. And he finally realized that he had to do something to save us. That's why he sent Jesus. So, hopefully you will look into some of this information and get knowledgeable about what's out there, and the Bible being the Word, which is the one true source, and other information that you hear that doesn't jive with that is not going to be the truth. So, okay, I want to thank you for listening today, and I have a lot of other podcasts out there by now. All you have to do is look up my name, Monique Musiel, and they'll all come up. So, again, hope all is well, and God bless.